Hello, and welcome to IDignity's 2024 Virtual Super Duper. While we wish you could have been here in person to soak up the incredible energy in the room, it's the wonderful challenge of a sold-out event. Some simply couldn't be here live, but we are deeply grateful you're here with us now. So grab a bowl of your favorite soup, sit back, and enjoy the experience from wherever you are, because you're still a vital part of the important and significant impact we're making today. To kick things off, it is my honor to introduce someone who has been an ally for IDignity since the very beginning. He is a super duper champion and a brave public servant, the one and only Orange County Sheriff John Mina.
It's an absolute pleasure to be here with you to support this wonderful organization, IDignity. It is an honor to be here, and it's an honor to be your sheriff, but that's only slightly eclipsed by the honor that I received in 2019 for best tasting soup at this very event. That's right. There may have been a celebrity chef that helped me out. But you know, as your sheriff, the men and women in the Orange County Sheriff's Office, over 2,600 of them are responsible for the safety and security of this community. 1.5 million residents, 75 million annual visitors a year. And so it's so vital that when we are interacting with folks, we need to identify victims, witnesses, and suspects. And nothing is more dangerous for a law enforcement officer when they respond to a call and they don't know who the person is, or they can't identify someone in a traffic stop. But beyond that, one of the reasons I love this organization is because many of the people that we deal with have been born into some very, very unfortunate circumstances, born into extreme poverty, homelessness, no mother or father, born into alcoholism, drug abuse, sexual abuse, and it goes on. And so what I tell our deputies, and what I tell all of you why this organization is so important, because one of the only things they have left, you strip all that away from them, take all that away, the only thing that they have left is their name and their dignity. And that's why IDignity is so very important. I'm wholeheartedly support this organization, both personally and through the Sheriff's Office. So it is my great pleasure to introduce the founding executive director, Michael Dippy.
Thank you, Sheriff Mina. I'm grateful for your ongoing support of IDignity. I'm grateful for our friendship. It is truly an honor that IDignity can positively impact those that provide the safety and security for our community. So thank you for that. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. I sincerely appreciate each of you joining us here tonight for the Super Duper Fundraiser. Yes, it's a fundraiser. It is only through the collective effort from every segment of our community that IDignity's mission has become effective and as beneficial as it is today. As you know, creating a great soup starts with simple, pure water. It is the foundation for the broth that brings all the various ingredients together to create a delicious flavor and a tasty meal. In the same manner, your identity starts simply with your name, often given to you when you were born. Thanks, Mom. Your name is who you are. Yet proving it through legal identification is the necessary foundation for participating in our society. Just as water supports every part of the soup, identification supports nearly every opportunity in our lives. The consequences of not being able to obtain your identification are severe and unrelenting. Possession of your identification documents is often required to access education, employment, housing, banking, social service agencies, proper health care, and numerous other opportunities. You simply cannot do much without it, as you cannot prove who you are. According to 2 separate university studies, it is estimated that 10% of adult U.S. citizens do not currently possess valid government-issued identification. That estimate equates to more than 25 million of our fellow Americans facing this plight. 117,000 of them are residents here in Orange County. At IDignity's current rate of serving over 3,000 clients in Orange County annually, let's hear it for that. It will still take us 40 years just to meet the current need. A need that does not include the children that will eventually become adults, and does not include the 400 additional people that are moving into Orange County every single week. The severity of this plight, along with the impact it has on our society, requires a long-term strategy and investment. IDignity has an aspirational goal of not only ensuring that all residents of Orange County are able to obtain legal proof of their identity, yet also being part of the solution nationwide to address this entrenched social issue. IDignity is already a nationally recognized leader regarding the issue of access to identification. With this in mind, as many of you know, IDignity has launched into its first ever capital campaign to build a permanent operational headquarters. This facility will not only ensure the long-term provision of IDignity's unique and crucial services, it will also increase our capacity, security, and organizational stability. While we are here tonight to fundraise exclusively for IDignity's general operations, not for the capital campaign, I would be remiss if I did not provide an update of this inspiring project. I am excited to now share with you the world premiere animation of IDignity's permanent operational headquarters. Thank you. The great news is that IDignity fully owns the property that you saw in the Soto area of Orlando. We have completed the design of the project. We have raised over $10.5 million. And anticipate breaking ground this upcoming February. Thank you to everyone that has already supported this campaign. Yet again, that is not why we are here tonight. Although I'll be glad to talk with you about it tomorrow if you're interested. Tonight, we are here to learn more about IDignity's mission, why it is essential, and the impact it has on our neighbors in need and our community. IDignity was founded in 2008 by 5 downtown Orlando churches who united to address the unmet need of access to legal identification particularly for the poor and the disadvantaged. We soon realized that we could accomplish even more, being a resource to those that are already helping individuals in need, such as law enforcement, such as hospitals, government agencies, and other social service agencies, along with good-hearted individuals like Dan, who you will meet in a few moments. To date, IDignity has assisted over 32,000 clients in Orlando in obtaining all of their various forms of legal identification. In addition, thousands more have been served through self-sufficient affiliate operations in the surrounding counties. While the number of clients that we have served is impressive, equally important is the complexity of the issue that we are addressing. The ability to prove your identity typically requires your possession of your birth certificate, your social security card, your state ID, or your driver's license. These documents, if they ever even existed, can be lost, can be stolen, can be destroyed, and will expire. However, to acquire any of them is often dependent on their possession of the others. This leads to a necessary catch-22 scenario, such as needing your birth certificate to replace your ID, yet you're unable to obtain your birth certificate because you have no ID. Now you are stuck. At this point, what you truly need is an advocate, and often an attorney, both of which IDignity provides at no cost to our clients. The root problem of this whole issue is actually a paradox, in that access to legal identification documents inherently must be extremely difficult in order to protect the integrity of the identity that these very documents represent. While our society should not lower the barriers to proving our identity, there must be an organization such as IDignity that will assist those members of our society who cannot overcome those barriers on their own. The essential services that IDignity provides not only empowers individuals with the ability to better their own lives, it also cultivates a society that is more inclusive, productive, and secure for all of us. Thank you for joining IDignity on this mission. And now, as an example of how IDignity is a resource to help those who are already helping others, I would like to share with you the story of my friends, Dan and Hannah.
In your heart, the Spirit of God touches you. Not for everyone, but He gives you those people that, just like the Spirit kind of nudges you. And, you either pay attention to that or you don't. My name is Dan. I'm from Sydney, Ohio. I've lived there for 40 years. And then moved to Florida about 25 years ago. I've been associated with Family Foundation. The mission is to help people equip themselves. And that's probably why we've been partnering with IDignity for the last 8 years. It just made sense. About 25 years ago, when I was with the Family Foundation, board members traveled for about 20 years. We probably took over a dozen trips. Everywhere we went to great countries, but we were in all the disadvantaged sections of town. And it really was a profound change the way I think about giving, about my faith, about how lucky we are, how blessed we are, and we need to pass that on to other people. And sometimes you got to step out and take that chance for helping people. My best friend and I, we've been walking for 17 years at the Lake Monroe. So we walk at 6 every morning, and some of the people we know their name, but a lot of you don't, but you greet everyone that passes you for that mile there and mile back. We met Hafford probably the fall of 2022, and for a while we'd see him. For We started talking, and he kind of told us this story, you know, that a couple of years ago, I think it was, we had a big storm, and it washed everything out, and it washed all of his identity, his birth certificate, anything he had, kind of washed it away.
I had been living with my daughter. She knew I was going through it hard time. And she said, "Don't you move in with us?" Our house got flooded out. I mean, everything got wet. My first Social Security card, birth certificate, and when I got it out, it just tore up. All I was left with was my expired Iowa ID. And I met Dan. That's when things changed. So I was living down on the St. Johns River under the bridge. I had my plastic up. I had my bed laid. I just made myself comfortable under a bridge. We was talking one morning. He said, "I'm gonna see if I can help you." I'm like, "How can you help me?" So he took me up here. He brought me up here. He said, I'll show you, I'll help you.
The thing is, he was 66, and I'm 65, so I know I'm close to retirement, and he could get his Social Security. What's this guy gonna do for the rest of his life if he doesn't get his Social Security? So that was kind of inspiration for me to say, you know, this guy needs to get off the street, needs to get an apartment, and so let's get this guy taken care of somehow. So that's what we did.
IDignity discovered that was an error on my name on my birth certificate. When I was born in 1957, my name couldn't have been Jones, because my mother, she was married to a Todd, but she messed around with my father. She was married to an evil man. He abused me. I was beat bad. Well, the last time he was gonna hit me, I walked away. I was 16 years old. Never talked to that man since. IDignity attorneys were able to fix my problem on my birth certificate. I'm officially Hafford Jones now.
When we were done with IDignity, we got his birth certificate with his correct name on it, a Florida ID, and his Social Security card.
And with my Social Security card, I was able to get my Social Security check. And now I'm able to get my housing. I'm able to watch football, yay. I'm able to look out the window in peace and enjoy retirement. And most importantly, my name officially is Jones, not Todd. And I thank God for that, and IDignity for that.
Like I was saying before, you know, God's Spirit gives you a nudge on certain things, and you need to follow through. Sometimes it's not always going to turn out, but sometimes it does. And I just think this was a God thing, and that He took care of Hafford. And I know with IDignity it happens to a lot of other people, and that's why we've been supporting them for so long, and there's a lot of success stories with IDignity. This is just one of them.
I appreciate the donors, because there's other people that needs help too. They could use your help too. So if you got it to give, I know people at IDignity ain't got money rolling out their pockets, but they're helping people. The help is more important.
I think IDignity is a great investment to make, just to change people's lives, to change their future. You know, if you don't have that ID, you can't get anything. So for some people, it opens up a whole new world, because people are going to be able to work again. They're going to be able to have homes. They're going to be able to support their families. You know, and I think it's real important to support an organization like IDignity to help them do that.
My name is Hafford Jones, and now I can prove it.
Wasn't that a moving video? If that doesn't move your heart, I don't know what does.
Yes, that is such an incredible, incredible story. I couldn't begin to even put into words just how excited and honored we are to be with you all tonight. For those that we haven't had the privilege of meeting as of yet, my name is Keith. This is my wonderful wife, Meg. I was going to say that. Let me.
This is what almost 30 years looks like.
let me do my part. Okay. My name is Keith. This is my wonderful wife, Megan.
Thank you.
And together we have the privilege of serving as the lead pastors of Celebration Orlando. And at Celebration Orlando, we've had the privilege of serving as partners with IDignities for the past 5 years. The work of IDignity, it resonates with us deeply, mainly because of the truth that it bears. And the truth that it bears is something about restoration. And so tonight, that's what we're going to talk about. But when we talk about restoration, we're not just talking about the restoration of documents. We're talking about something a little bit more personable. We're talking about the restoration of someone's identity, someone's dignity, someone's hope. In fact, we're talking about restoring someone's vision.
Yes, and when I think about IDignity's mission, I think of all of you who have played a part in helping to build IDignity into what it is today. To the hundreds of volunteers who have been serving, who have given their time, their energy, and their love, thank you. To the donors who have written checks and have given generously over the past 16 years, thank you. To the community advocates and the elected officials who somehow made a way to make this government work for the betterment of not just some, but for the betterment of all people. Thank you. We would not be here tonight without you. And as a pastor, I am reminded by the powerful moments of Jesus. In John 9, Jesus encounters a man who was born blind. And this man spent his life on the margins, begging just to survive, because without his sight, he had to find some type of way to be able to provide for himself, and he had no other way. But when God stepped in, where Jesus stepped in, in many ways, he saw how this man was invisible to the people around him, much like the clients of IDignity that we serve today. But Jesus did something remarkable. He saw a man, not just his blindness, but his humanity. He saw his need, and with compassion, he healed him. And through that healing, the man was able to enter the fullness of life that had been denied to him for so long. This is what IDignity does and is doing. Seeing those who have been overlooked, those who've been pushed to margins, and helping them to step into the fullness of life by restoring their identity.
So IDignity has helped tens of thousands of people regain their identification.
Yeah.
And this wasn't just about receiving their identification, but it also helps them to move forward with their life. With that comes the ability for them to get health care. With that comes the ability for them to get jobs, for them to get homes, for them to fully participate in society. Just as Megan was talking about how Jesus healed the man and restored his vision, in essence, when IDignity steps into a person's life, it's restoring their vision and giving them the opportunity to have dreams and hopes for a better future. Let's take, for example, Freddie. Freddie came to IDignity because he couldn't obtain his ID. As it turned out, a clerical error marked him as deceased. Now, it was his twin brother, Eddie, who had actually died at birth, but the doctor had mistakenly recorded Freddie as the one who had passed away. So imagine that for years, Freddie lived without the ability of being able to prove who he was. However, through IDignity's perseverance, through the caseworkers, through the volunteers, they worked tirelessly with the state of Florida to correct the error. With his identification restored, Freddie was able to move forward with his life.
And then there's Tony. Tony, after fleeing an abusive relationship in Boston, left everything she had behind, including all of her identification documents. And I can imagine that if you are fleeing a place where you're not safe, you're not thinking about grabbing all of your things. You're thinking about getting out and getting to a place of safety. Without those documents, Tony couldn't work or find stable housing and was trapped in uncertainty. But thanks to IDignity, she obtained new identification and began working in her field of child advocacy here in Florida. Let's give it up for that. That's amazing. These stories of restoration and healing were made possible by people like you who believe in IDignity's mission and give generously.
So let's talk some specifics here. I love to get into the practical nuances of what it really takes to leave a lasting impact on someone's life. On average, it costs about $400 to serve a client so that they can obtain all their necessary documents. So let's break this down. $400, that's less than the cost of a brand new iPhone. Or Android, because we're inclusive. So wherever you are, if you're iPhone, Android, whatever you use.
Is the Galaxy still out?
Galaxies, I don't know. But wherever you use, it's less than that. It's less than the cost of going out for dinner and a movie. At least it is for my family. Unless we go to Dub's Dread, where they said he give everything to us for free. So then that's probably the option for you to go to. It's less than my wife's amount that she spent on pumpkin spice chai lattes in this month alone. Y'all pray for my budget because it's out of control.
It's just this month. It's just this season.
Yeah, it's definitely, I can't wait for it to be over. But when we think about what $400 truly does, think about it. $400 has the ability to radically transform somebody's life. It can transform people like Freddie's life. It can transform people like Tony's life. It can transform people like Hafford's life. $400. As Dan shared in the video, there's that moment that I believe that all of us may have had at different points in our lives where we feel that inner voice that kind of nudges us and tells us that maybe we can make a difference. Maybe there's a space that I'm being led to have an impactful difference in this situation. And what I believe after we heard the incredible stories, after we heard the amazing things of what's happening at IDignity, I believe that many in this room are beginning to feel that nudge right now. And what I want to encourage you to do is lean into that voice, lean into that nudging, because it's an invitation for you to be able to take the resources that you've been blessed with and to make a significant difference in somebody else's life. To be completely honest, if we really think about it, we are all so tremendously blessed. So as Dan mentioned in the video, I think it's an opportunity for us to pass that blessing on to someone else.
So here's how you can bless others and be a part of this incredible work tonight. We have some table hosts that will pass on pledge cards to your table right now, and they have some pens. There's also, for you high-tech people on your phones, there's a QR code, and that should be on the screen to your left and your right, or on the actual pledge cards at your table. This will allow you to have an opportunity to scan it to your phone and donate directly. And if you follow this approach, you don't have to fill out the pledge card on your table.
Now, based off of the activity in this room, I can tell that people are excited to give tonight.
Voices, you're like, I'm giving $1 million.
That makes me happy. But here's the thing. We also recognize that there may be some people in here that may be a little bit old school. Notice I didn't say old, I said old school, which may mean that maybe you don't want to give through the digital device, but you would prefer to give by connecting with one of our incredible team members that are here. So we want to pause for a moment and just look to the back of the room. You're going to see in the back that we have some team members that are prepared to receive you at the tables, that if you want to give here in person. If you do give that way, you do not have to fill out a card tonight. So as we take some time to pause and to reflect and really meditate on what we're being invited to give to, we're going to take some time. We're going to look at some videos. We're going to listen to some music. But once we're complete, do not leave as of yet. We're going to come back and we want to share a special guest with you. here's what we want to do. We want to close the night out with a blessing, just thanking you guys and for your generosity. And then we want to go into a space where we want to invite a special guest on stage just to join us really quick. So if you are with us tonight, would you mind just bowing your head and joining us in a moment of prayer and an expression of gratitude? Let's close with this blessing. Father, we thank you for everyone that is here tonight that has given so generously, for those who are considering giving generously, for their willingness to step in and help into this restoration mission. We ask that you bless their gifts and that you multiply them so that we can have impact in so many lives and bring about transformation through the work of identity. Would you help us to serve our community well? We thank you so much for your love and your presence, and may you multiply it back to us. Amen.
Amen. Well, as Keith said earlier, before we conclude the night, we want to bring up our special guest, Hafford Jones.
Come on.
You guys just give a wave to him. Let him know that he is loved and appreciated and seen. Thank you. Thank you so much for your willingness to give. You are truly making a difference, restoring dignity and helping people to regain their sense of belonging. This is what tonight is all about, seeing people like Freddie, Tony, Hafford being able to prove who they are. IDignity helps to prove that identity, bringing hope and dignity back into their lives. Thank you for your willingness to be a part of this mission. Have a wonderful night.